If you can talk a bit about your mother, how you tell her story and how her legacy has impacted on your decisions.
She's had a tremendous impact on my brother and on me. As someone who was active in the Chicano movement in the late 50s and 70s, was a role model in terms of being civically involved and standing up for what she believed in, and gave us a sense that participation in public service could be positive and make a difference in people's lives.
How early on you thought that you would have a career in politics?
When I got to college, it was the first time that I was away from San Antonio, and I got more perspective on what I thought the city could become in the future. And that's when I first started getting interested in going into public service to represent the city. Probably when I got to college.
You ran for office right after finishing law school. Why was that? Why did you make that decision?
By that time, I had determined that I wanted to come home and both practice law and be involved in public service. Being involved in public service was a kind of compromise with myself. I couldn't be satisfied just practicing law, just making money. I wanted to do something that was geared toward, helping other people.
How much of this feeling had a Hispanic twinge, would you say, at that point?
It's always been important for me to ensure that every community prospers, but also to ensure that the Hispanic community prospers, so that everyone in the country is able to live out the American dream and enjoy the fullness of what this country has to offer. So, that was something definitely.
Some people say that the American dream is not as powerful as before, but sometimes it feels that immigrants, the American dream is still alive. Would you agree with this?
I agree. I think, for generations, immigrants have replenished that sense of optimism and strong reach for the American dream. Whether it was the European immigrants who came a century ago, or the Latino immigrants who come, the Latino and Asian immigrants who come today, it's the same, it's just the same striving, the same optimism, same goal.
People have been talking about the growth of Hispanics in U.S. politics for many years, and then some people get disappointed after results, or maybe they think that things are going to happen faster than they are happening. Do you think that there's a new generation of Latino leaders coming up in politics, or it's still going to take time to get a critical mass?
Oh, there certainly is a new generation of Latino leadership, and that's a positive thing. But there's also a strong presence of breakthrough Latino leaders who made a big difference in opening up barriers, breaking down barriers, I should say.
A year or so ago, there was a profile of you on the New York Times Magazine, and the headline was "The Post-Hispanic Politician." How comfortable you feel with that label of how much you agree with that?
Well, I'm comfortable with the idea that as the mayor, I represent everyone. That's my job. But I'm also aware of who I am and very proud of it. And so, I think it's best usually to avoid labels, and so I would avoid that one as well.
Maybe it's easy for you, but not so easy for other people to see you that way?
There's always a challenge for minority elected officials. Sometimes you're suspect because the mainstream thinks you're only going to represent your ethnic group, and sometimes you're suspect within your ethnic group because people want you just primarily to represent your own group, and neither one of those should be the case.
How is your relationship with the Spanish language? How has it evolved in the last years?
I understand it better than I speak it, but I'm trying to get better at speaking. I definitely believe that it helps, and that it's it is something that ideally, you know, an elected official who represents a large base of bilingual.
Would you say that if you were now 10 years old, you think that younger Latino families in Texas are keeping the Spanish more?
That's hard to say. In some ways, bilingual instruction has enhanced because in our public schools there are, I believe, more elementary schools that offer languages. But at the same time, I see this newest generation of Latinos not picking up the language as much as the previous generation. My belief is that we're stronger in this country if people speak more than one language. It is great if people speak Spanish and that, you know, they speak another language. So it's my hope that this new generation will master Spanish.